Hello everyone, we are Apartment D Films, a stop-motion animation studio, and we're going to try something new with this video. This week, we're going to talk about the process of how we animated the stop-motion series Dino Battle for some very cool people here on YouTube, the legendary Game Grumps, or more specifically, their 10-minute Power Hour segment. Make sure to like, leave a comment, and subscribe, and let's get into it. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Game Grumps are, as their name suggests, a gaming channel that have been around for a hot minute on YouTube, hosted by Dan and Aaron. They also host another channel called The Grumps where they have their 10-minute Power Hour series, which consists of them trying various typically not video game related stuff such as...
Oh no! The anal fin!
You've activated the feces.
This is like rock hard!
Oh my god, look at that! You think he's gonna think that's Princess Daisy?
Some of you may know that this isn't our first rodeo with Dan and Aaron, as we've actually been featured in a 10-minute Power Hour episode before, where we taught them how to stop-motion animate, which you should totally check out, by the way, as well as created some animated music videos for Dan's band, Ninja Party, such as I Don't Know What We're Talking About, Thunder and Lightning, and 6969 Level Up. Basically, we go back with these guys. So when they asked us to pitch a project, we got started right away with developing ideas we could do for them and came up with a pitch deck of possibilities. Look how cool it is. One of those ideas was to create a stop-motion series for around 30-second to 1-minute episodes of the beloved dinos that you see at the beginning of every Power Hour episode being creatively knocked off the table. Once that was approved, we got started in developing the Dino Battle Bible, where we established things like characters, plot, episode breakdowns, production, etc. After everything was set, we moved right onto thumbnails. Generally, we use very loose thumbnails for this stage, but for episode 1, we really wanted to focus on the overall timing to make sure that the characters and all the story beats would read well. To test this right up front, our main man for this series, who you're going to see a lot of in this video, Sean, created a short After Effects video in the style of Studio Trigger's web series Inferno Cop. Can you see the resemblance? I think I can. Can you? But once we got that down, we moved back to those loose thumbnails. Now you might be thinking to yourself, these don't look like the typical thumbnails or storyboards that you'd see in your average behind-the-scenes content for animated things. They're in a vertical orientation instead of horizontal, and there is a reason for that. While getting ready for this, we wanted to make sure the action worked across all platforms so that no matter which social media we'd post to, we wouldn't have to worry about anyone missing out on any of the action. You see, when it comes to vertical format action, it comes with its own rules and challenges. For instance, instead of choreographing action happening horizontally across space, we had to choreograph it to happen in depth. So we wanted to make sure the fight choreography was working correctly before we got to shooting. As for why the boards are loosely drawn, in stop motion, storyboards aren't always a one-to-one representation of the final product like they are in 2D animation. As a result, characters staying on model and true to the setting of the scene is less important than working out the story beats, blocking, and timing. The rest is just there for general reference. Speaking of characters, let's talk about how our main little guys were prepped for animating. When you look at the dinos you see on the 10-minute Power Hour, you probably thought they were made of hard plastic. Well, they are. They're hard, non-moving plastic, which isn't going to work for the movements we want. So here's how we made it work for us. Our puppet lead, Joe, started off by making a wire armature of the skeleton that's going to be inside of the puppet. This is the main base that's going to allow the dinosaur to move how we want it to. He then took the actual plastic dinosaurs and made molds of them out of resin. Once the mold was made, he would fill it with the wire armature and silicone. Here he is, pouring it in very lightly so air bubbles are less likely to form. He then squished the two halves together like a sandwich and held them together with clamps to get the best seal possible. Once it cures, he has to be careful removing it to not risk accidentally tearing or breaking the puppet when it comes out. After he trims the excess off and gives it a paint job to give it character, he repeats the cycle at least 4 more times, making 2 versions of the 2 Dino Boys. Many of you guys seemed very surprised to see this when you saw us make a joke about it on TikTok.
Do we just sit here forever? Well, kinda, unless Bebo shows up.
What the hell is Bebo?
Guys, look!
Bebo!
No! Ah! Oh! Bye, Jim. What the f-
The reason we have spares is to make sure we can not only get multiple scenes animated at once, but also just in case one of them breaks. Getting the best animation sometimes entails you get pretty rough with the puppets, especially when you're Sean. As for the other characters, we only really made minor modifications, which we don't have footage of unfortunately, but we do have this funny TikTok of Treasure X Alien.
Is the little girl who lives at the plaza in New York.
I'm Eloise, I'm 6 and I just shit in the hallway!
After that, we headed over to the Game Grumps studio to get shooting. We got to set up our stage in the 10-minute Power Hour room where the magic happens, which was just absolutely awesome. It's here where Sean is in his element and just gets to work with a sick rock and roll soundtrack. One thing you might not know is that we didn't shoot episodes in chronological order. Sean shoots episodes by going through the storyboards based on similarity of lighting, rigging, and camera positions in order to minimize the time it takes to switch between setups. The puppets can support themselves on all 4 legs, but for jumping, punching, and flying, we attach them to pin rigs. Now, in most of the stop motion we do, we use brass stock rigs built into the puppets, but stabbing pin rigs into these guys works really well because the silicone can absorb the stabs really well. Now, a huge limiting factor for what can be brought to life on screen in stop motion is the physical constraints of the available materials, in this case, the toys. A key concept in this medium is to find creative solutions within and around the limitations. The puppet dinos are really flexible, but there are just some poses they can't quite reach without breaking off limbs. So we did exactly that. Sean kept a cup of wild arms and wild legs on hand, which are also stabbed into the puppets with pins, while their normal arms are cheated away from the camera, usually behind the puppets. Sean goes full mixed media when he animates, using a ton of different materials and techniques. The smoke and electricity effects were made using cotton, the Bug Monster slime was made with museum gel and green clay, and P-Wolf's super speed zaps were made using a rolled up piece of CTO gel with an LED bike light placed inside. For the first shot in the whole series, we thought it'd be fun to pick up directly after the 10-minute power hour ends for the day, and the dinos' adventures begin. Aaron came in to do a pixelation shoot with us, like the one at the end of our 10-minute power hour episode. He had just come in from a workout, so this was the burnout round. Aaron and Sean worked together to get the increments of walking feet and make sure each frame had a good silhouette to camera. Once everything is shot, it goes to VFX, editing, and sound design, which, funny enough, Sean is also in charge of, to put everything together and add those finishing touches. During the shoot, we made sure to grab clean plates without any rigs or puppets on screen and use those to digitally paint out the rigging. After he's finished, he sends the final footage back to the Game Grumps to add to their 10-minute power hour episodes, and you get something like this.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope that you guys love Dino Battle as much as we did making it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.